You probably heard people say technology is putting small businesses out of business. That AI and automation are giving the big companies such a huge advantage that Main Street just can't keep up. I hear that all the time. And I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think technology is what's hurting small businesses. I think confusion is. There's a big difference. Let me explain what I mean. This episode is delivered by my AI avatar. I wrote the script, reviewed it, and approved it. Same thinking, same framework, same move worth. I use this technology so I can spend my time diagnosing real business problems instead of sitting in front of a camera. There's a pattern I see in almost every small business I work with. They have the tools, they have the subscriptions. What they don't have is connection. The website doesn't feed the CRM. The CRM doesn't trigger follow-ups. The follow-ups aren't tracked. And reporting, it's a guessing game. That's Dusty Digital, not because the tools are bad, but because nobody wired them together. The fix isn't more tools, it's better structure. Let's keep going. Picture a typical small business owner. This might even sound familiar. If somebody tells them they need a CRM, so they go get one. Then someone else says, you need email marketing, so they sign up for that. Then they hear they need automation, another platform. Then AI, another subscription. Then they need a new website. Then a social media scheduler. Then a project management tool. Now, here's the interesting part. None of those things are bad. Individually, they all solve real problems. The problem is nobody ever explains how those tools are supposed to work together. Nobody explains where they overlap. Nobody shows them how to build an actual system. So what happens? They just keep stacking one tool on top of another. And after 6 months, they've got 12 different logins, 5 platforms they barely use, information scattered across systems that don't communicate with each other, and a software bill that's growing faster than the business itself. That's not a technology problem. That's a confusion problem. And it's happening to small businesses every single day. Here's how that confusion starts to compound. It usually begins with a legitimate business need. Maybe they need a better way to keep track of leads. That's a real problem. So they implement a CRM. Makes perfect sense. But then they realize the CRM doesn't connect to the forms on their website. Now every lead comes in through email instead of flowing directly into the system. So somebody has to manually enter every lead. That takes time. It creates mistakes. It introduces friction into something that should have been automatic. Then they start running ads. Those ads send people to a landing page that's completely separate from the main website. Now they're maintaining 2 different websites. The landing page is collecting leads into one system. The CRM is storing customer information somewhere else. Now the data lives in 2 different places. Nobody's reconciling it. Reporting becomes difficult, if not impossible. Then somebody says, you need automation. They're right. Automation is a great idea, except the automation platform doesn't integrate with the CRM. It doesn't integrate with the landing page. So now they're building workarounds, Zapier connections, manual exports, copying information from one dashboard into another. This is actually what I mean when I talk about compound optimization in reverse. When your systems are connected, every improvement builds on the last one. Your CRM feeds your email marketing. Your email marketing feeds your reporting. Your reporting helps you make better decisions. Everything compounds in a positive direction. That's the stair-step effect working for you. But fragmented systems do exactly the opposite. Every new tool creates another disconnect, another manual process, another place where information gets lost. Instead of compounding growth, you're compounding confusion. And that's the real problem. Now, here's something I think a lot of business owners miss. The cost of confusion isn't just frustration, it's expensive. Let's put some numbers to it. Let's say somebody on your team spends about 30 minutes every day moving information from one system to another because those systems don't talk to each other. 30 minutes doesn't sound like much, but over the course of a week, and that's about 2.5 hours, over a year, you're looking at roughly 130 hours. If you're paying someone $25 an hour, you've just spent over $3,200 doing work that a properly connected system should have handled automatically. And that's only the beginning. Now think about the leads that slipped through the cracks because nobody ever saw the inquiry. Think about the follow-ups that never happened. Think about trying to make decisions when your data is spread across 4 different platforms and none of them tell the whole story. At that point, you're not making decisions based on visibility. You're making decisions based on instinct. Now, sometimes your instincts are right, but your business shouldn't have to depend on guessing. This isn't just a minor inefficiency. This is structural drag, slowing the entire business down. And here's the part that I think affects people the most. It feels personal. I'm working harder than I've ever worked, and I'm still not seeing the growth I expected. I hear that all the time. But in many cases, the problem isn't effort. The problem is the systems. The tools are working against each other instead of working together. That's a completely different problem. And it has a completely different solution. Because when things aren't working, most people have the same instinct. They go buy something else, another platform, another integration, another AI tool, another subscription that's supposed to solve everything the last one didn't solve. But adding another tool to a confused system is like adding more ingredients to a recipe that's already wrong. It doesn't fix the recipe. It just makes a bigger mess. More isn't better. Better is better. That's the distinction. The answer isn't more technology. The answer is clarity. Before you add anything new, you need to understand exactly what you already have. What does each platform actually do? Where do they overlap? Which ones are connected? Which ones are isolated? Which ones are creating value? And which ones are simply generating another monthly invoice? Once you can answer those questions, everything starts to change. Now you're making decisions from structure instead of reacting out of panic. You can consolidate where you've got redundancy, and you can connect the systems that should have been connected all along. You can eliminate the things that aren't serving the business anymore. That's how you stop managing a collection of software and start building digital infrastructure. Because that's really what you're after. Not more tools, a system, one that works together, one that supports the business. Instead of creating more work, I want to be clear about something. I'm not telling you to go cancel every subscription you have. Some of those tools are probably doing exactly what they're supposed to do. What I am suggesting is this: before you buy the next one, take inventory. Write down every platform your business uses, every login, every subscription, every piece of software you're paying for. Then ask yourself a simple question. Which of these is actually helping the business? And which ones are just sitting in the background collecting monthly charges? You might be surprised by what you find. Now, here's something practical you can do. Open a spreadsheet. List every digital tool your business uses, every single one. For each tool, write down 3 things. What does it do? How much does it cost? And what does it connect to? That's it. Just doing that exercise will give you a much clearer picture of where your money is going and where the gaps are. Then start looking for the disconnects. Where are people manually moving information from one system to another? Where do you have 2 different tools doing essentially the same job? Those are usually the first places you should simplify. Now, here's what I would stop doing. Stop buying software because somebody on YouTube, LinkedIn, or social media told you that you need it. Before you add anything to your business, ask two simple questions. What problem does this actually solve? And does it fit into the systems I already have? If you can't clearly answer both of those questions, it's probably not the right tool, or at least it's not the right time. And I'll leave you with one final thought. If you added up every software subscription your business pays for today, would the total surprise you? For most small businesses, it does. But the bigger issue isn't just the amount of money. It's how much of that money is actually creating more confusion instead of creating more clarity. That's why doing a tool audit isn't really about cutting costs. It's about understanding your business. It's about creating structure. Because once you have clarity, making better decisions becomes a whole lot easier. Technology isn't the enemy. Confusion is. And the good news is confusion can be fixed, not by buying more tools, by creating structure, by creating clarity, by making sure the systems you already have actually work together. That's what digital infrastructure is all about. And that's exactly what we're here to help businesses build. We'll talk soon. Your digital infrastructure is the plumbing behind the walls, invisible when it works, catastrophic when it doesn't. Give us a like for the YouTube algorithm and go ahead and subscribe now. Every episode, we break down how to get it right, structured, stable, built to last.